Hey guys, Greg here, Bone Tactical. Got a brand new unboxing for you today, and today's unboxing is the Disaster Reserve unboxing. Got some cool stuff, some knives, some cell phone stuff for you guys that have cell phones because, you know, cell phones are an emergency device these days, and we got to keep them running, and we got to have accessories for reserves and disasters. And the coolest thing I have here is this power station from UD Power. I really like these power stations, and I will say, guys, you've got to use a little bit of caution with these power stations, or you've just got to either have a bunch of money or use a little bit of caution, because the one thing about these power stations that I've realized is they're great to have. They're really awesome if you use them in the right use case scenario, but you definitely want to, they're a little finicky. You want maybe a voltage regulator and charging your power station. So when the power goes out, you've got your it's basically a giant battery backup. And I've had a bunch of them that have gone bad. And so I can't say anything about UD Power because I've never used them yet, but I've got some videos doing compare and contrasts on some. And I think I have one as of right now that hasn't gone bad, and all of the other ones that I have ruined. I've had like probably 7 different power stations that have ruined because one reason or another, they're just not really durable. So definitely something to consider. And again, this is a power station from UD Power. I'm going to be telling some cool stories in this, some cool references and giving some pro tips along the way. But I'm here in the middle of an area that's, you know, kind of a dangerous area. We have power outages all the time. One of the reasons my power stations are always breaking, battery backups are always breaking, is because the voltage spikes and you know, the line is not conditioned. There's spikes and drops in the power outages all the time. So the same reasons that make these so great is this, you know, the battery provides stable content. It's almost sacrificial in a certain case, because if you do get something, if you have a jump or a spike in the AC current, you know, if it jumps up to 140 and fries something, or 160, or if it, you know, drops down to 80, you know, that could potentially ruin sensitive equipment, it'll ruin this instead. So what I'm saying is get a line conditioner or a voltage regulator, have that charging this, and then have your really sensitive equipment or expensive electronic devices that you don't want to get ruined connected to this. It also helps serve, let's say, for example, whenever I install a security system at one of my facilities, I always connect the NVR or DVR for the security camera system to one of these. That way, if there is a power outage, the cameras are still filming. And then I like to connect as well the internet, wireless internet, to one of these also. Especially if it's fiber optic coming into the facility, then this would give me pretty much constant internet even during power outages and stuff. So those are some things to think about. This one actually looks really nice, really nice. And so we'll get started using it. I'm gonna put it to charge and put it to work. And I'll show you a future video. Actually, I have one that was powering my fridge and a bunch of stuff in my little kitchen area, internet and all that kind of stuff. And it broke. What actually broke really weird is the input plug broke and the output plug broke. And the company like went out of business or something. They're making bicycles now, and they don't have any kind of like backup or whatever. No way to, so I'm going to have to take it apart and completely fix it. But like I'm saying, pretty much all of them broke. A couple of them show error codes and stuff. So, you know, we'll have to see what happens, how this one holds up. I'll do a video of installing this one, replacing the other one, and then I'll do a compare and contrast between this and some of the other stuff that I have. Comes with the accessories. Basically, in this case, it's just charging cables, either from DC or AC, off your car battery, solar, or also, you know, normal AC current. If you do connect to normal AC current, then I recommend connecting to a voltage regulator or line conditioner just in case. You can charge it with a solar panel, and you can charge it with, that would be DC current that you'd be charging with the solar panel. So lots of options, car battery as well. cool for an overland expedition rig. I've got a dual battery setup in my rig, so when my key's in the off position, I'm using my auxiliary battery, but this could also function as an auxiliary battery in a vehicle, so you're not gonna kill your battery, your cranking battery on your vehicle. If you're on a road trip or something, you could have one of these and be using it when your car's off, so you don't kill your starting battery and so you don't end up without having a vehicle that'll start. I've got a knife here, so definitely, I know a lot of you guys tuned in for the knife. I've been reviewing tons of Odin Wolf knives. Comment below if you want to see the follow-up review, because what I've been doing is I've got a bunch of apprentices, and they are, they're low-income guys. Most of them were dirt poor. Some of them lived in, one of them was telling me when I hired him, he was going to build a shack out of plastic garbage bags, and that's where he was going to live with his family, and he's got a bunch of kids. And I was like, no, man, I'll rent you a place. Just learn how to do something useful for me. Stay dedicated, and I'll hook you up with a place one day, hopefully. Maybe it'll work out for me in the long run, where enough stuff to where you're really helping me out. If not, hey, it doesn't matter. That's, I can't let somebody live like that. But anyway, comment below if you want to see their knives in use, because what I've been doing is I review these knives, and then I do an employee of the month program, and I put probably 75% of this stuff, pretty much all the knives, I put in a employee of the month program, and then we all vote every month for that, and then somebody gets it, and they love these knives. So pretty much all my workers now have all these different knives that I review. So if you want to see a follow-up video where I'll have to do a translation where I'm telling you what they're saying, right? But I can ask them, how's your knife held up? Show it to the camera. What's it look like? If you want to see that kind of stuff, let me know. This particular Odin Wolf is the ODLF 003180SW. It's not very sharp, surprisingly. I will tag it in the description below. It's got a very cool grind on here. The entire edge here is flat ground, one solid grind, okay? One solid flat grind that goes from the bottom all the way up to the top. Then there's a tiny little, which in theory makes the knife able to be pretty sharp and strong. It's not a bad grind idea. They just have a little bit of an obtuse grind angle on this final edge here. This final edge should be a little bit more, should be a little bit thinner final edge here, and it's for that it's not as sharp as it could be. I'd like it to see it a little sharper, but it is sharp. There's no burrs that I don't see. Okay, I don't see any burrs. It looks pretty good. It's got like a stonewash style finish. It's light. It's D2. The heat treats have been varying. I've tested a lot of them as far as seeing how they held up with if they shatter or not. A couple of them occasionally are over heat treated, but I think with the thickness this has, very light. With the thickness that it has, I don't think it'll break, but it's still very light. And it seems to me like a pretty good overall knife. Comfortable injection molded grip, nice sheath. There's no primary retention in the sheath. I don't really like that much, but it has a secondary retention, so it's not going to fall out of the sheath. A lot of stuff going on here, but pretty decent overall knife. I think it comes with this little strap in there to scout carry it if you want to as well. What I do really like about Odin Wolf is they're great knives for the price. If you're a beginner, if you're just getting started, if you don't know how to sharpen your knife well yet or anything like that, I do recommend Odin Wolf. Moving right along, you might say, why the heck do you have a pair of sandals on a video of disaster preparedness or, disaster readiness? Well, other than the fact that the bottom of these sandals is so stinking cool. You've got your island thing. They're from Flojo's, okay? These are Flojo's sandals. I think they're well made. I like them. This seems like some kind of crazy comfortable looking memory foam on here. Definitely gonna have to test them out. But I got another pair in as well that I just had out on the islands with me and tested those out, and they did everything that a pair of flip-flops should do, so I liked those. I actually think I like these better. I wish I would have taken these out there to use them. This particular model is the Salto triangle cut thong strap. Okay, so Salto, S-A-L-T-O, from Flojo's. Pretty cool looking sandal, guys. But you say, why the heck are sandals? Okay, let's get back to that. Why the heck are sandals in your disaster preparedness? So, funny story, when I was in one of the most remote jungles on the planet, right? It's called La Mosquitia, Honduras, and it's the second most virgin expanse of jungle after the Amazon in all of the Americas. You can't travel. There's very few vehicles out there that can even traverse it. It's at a certain point, you just have to go through canoe. And then when there's just 4 feet of mud, you just have to wade or whatever you can do through that. There's no airboats out there. So it's just it's crazy terrain. You've got to find actually creeks that are deep enough to where you can navigate. You got to do big long loops to get to one area because some parts of the jungle is so thick that you just can't get through it. It's just so grown up and thick. There's jaguars, tapir, all kinds of crazy animals, ocelots and slow lemurs, I think they're called. Slow. I forget what they're called. The guy that one of the guys I was out there with had a jaguar that he had caught, and he was feeding it these slow lorises, and it's just crazy, man. Huge red parrots and these little tiny deer with white spots all over them, and that's as big as they get, like mini deer. All kinds of crazy animals out there. But one of the things, sandals, that I learned about sandals while I was out there is I took a awesome pair of boots thinking, yeah, I got these really cool boots. Well, they were, waterproof boots, but also breathable, really, really nice pair of boots. Everybody out there has rubber boots. Well, I tried to get a pair of rubber boots, and me being a size 13 shoe that just didn't exist anywhere near, not in the entire country, they didn't have rubber boots anywhere, because everybody had smaller feet. And so even trying to get somebody to bring some in from the city couldn't even happen. And then, so the only thing I could actually get somebody to bring in from the city for me were sandals. And why did my boots not work, do you say? Well, what I realized when it was raining every day in the rainforest, literally every day, and when there was basically no time for my boots to dry out, I couldn't let my boots dry. And it wasn't that they were wet because they weren't breathable. They just couldn't dry. It was not possible. That's why the guys used rubber boots, because at night they'd just take their shoes off, and at least at night their feet could dry. And then, a lot of them still got a ton of foot problems because the rubber boots still fill up with water. All your foot sweat stays trapped in there. So there's fungus problems, all kinds of stuff like that. What I learned in the jungles was that flip-flops were what I would use. Flip-flops absolutely as much as I could, because my boots were always wet and I didn't want to get a foot fungus or something. So I would only wear my boots if I absolutely had to know that I was going to be running and gunning. And every chance I had when I was around the compound, or even if I was driving and I thought that I could wear boots, or that I could get away with wearing flip-flops, I would wear flip-flops. So a crazy hardcore jungle tip is, as long as you're not planning on actually doing any jungle trekking, if you're in the jungle but you're on your rest time or whatever, R&R, then flip-flops are amazing. They really are, and a key tool. So when I talk about disaster preparedness, I think it's a good idea to have something you can put on your feet. So maybe you're not going to have to step on things you don't want to step on, bacteria, pathogens, anything sharp, getting a cut on your foot, anything like that. But you can still have some protection, but breathability, and it's easy and all that kind of stuff. So really cool that I think a pair of flip-flops is something good to have. And, I keep a pair of boots in my truck. I think it would be cool to have a pair of flip-flops in my truck too, because I'm probably more likely, honestly, if I have something happen to where I mess my shoes up or my shoes are wet or something like that, if I step in a puddle and my shoe gets wet and I want to change shoes, why not just put a pair of flip-flops on, right? So I think that a lot of this stuff might be overlooked, simple stuff that we could have, but a cheap pair of flip-flops or a nice pair of flip-flops, these I'm a Florida boy. I could get, these are pretty nice, right? I particularly ordered these because of the color, because I could wear these with a pair of khaki shorts and an El Sicario covert concealed carry shirt in Hawaiian print. And I could go anywhere in Florida pretty much and not stick out. I could go to a really nice place. If you're close to the water, if you're close to the beach, a really nice restaurant with those sandals on. So something to consider. This is all from ESR Tech, and I'm going to test this stuff out as well. This is a case for your iPhone. Now, why are we talking about phone stuff? Because phones are super critical now for everybody. Everybody uses their phone for communication, call 911 if something bad happens, look up a map. you know, do some research on your area of operation to put into practice the real gray man theory. Even military guys are using cell phone type devices to do a lot of their communication stuff now. So a really good, tough case is so important. A guy like me that does a lot of video content and stuff, I might like to have extra protection on my camera. So this ESR Tech has the full kit here. I definitely recommend putting on the glass. Okay, so this is Armorite glass for the screen protector and a case. So I recommend a case and a screen protector. I used to use those big bulky 2-part cases that came with like a piece of plastic that acted like the screen protector, and they just were always too bulky and they slowed me down and they lowered my efficiency. So the way to go that I've learned is a screen protector that you stick on there. Okay, do a good job, make sure you get all the bubbles out and everything, or take it somewhere and have a professional do it for you. And one of these comes with a guide, so they're a lot easier to do now with stuff like this. They come with the cleaning wipe. Just take your time, do it right. These ones are from ESR. I'm going to test them out, but I already like the way that they look. And I'm going to put this case on my cell phone, and then I'm going to put the screen protector on my cell phone, and we're going to be more protected. That's one of the reasons my cell phone's the thing filming above me right now that's actually filming the close-up shots of this stuff. And so that's one of the ways that I'm able to show you this stuff, and if it breaks, then I won't have the capacity to do my job. So it's very important. I consider these things very important. These are some BJ eyewear. Okay, BJ eyewear. These are some glasses. I'm going to put these ones on right here. These are the PC Clear. So I ordered these thinking that possibly I could use them for you know, gray man theory type situation, the real gray man theory, or if not, working safety glasses. So I think I definitely think they'll make a good pair of safety glasses. They look robust. Again, BJ Eyewear, all right? And BJ Eyewear, right? That's .com. And I do they look robust. They have some nice little metal parts on the inside that look like they're pretty well put together and well built. I like that about them. These as safety glasses, they look great, by the way. So, and they're cheap. So these ones are the old school wraparound, you know, cool guy, you know, baseball. They used to be baseball player sunglasses. Well, now anymore what they are these days is just kind of like what everybody's wearing. But these, one of the things people don't really think about is for like, if you're actually needing sun protection, like if you're out doing something, maybe my bicycle in the morning, sometimes I'm a weird angle doing my mountain biking, and I don't, you know, I want to be able to keep my head forward and the sun's like at a weird angle. So one of the things we don't really consider a lot of the time is, you know, if I'm out on the boat or something like that, or driving a vehicle off-road, you know, and I don't want the sun to hit my eyes at a weird angle, then these wraparounds are a big deal too. So they're not just like the, you know, baseball guy glasses anymore. They're decent, you know, a good pair of glasses that gives decent protection and has that wraparound style and really does a good job with it is something worth considering. So these ones are the J187, and they're olive and gray. They really look very military. So not going to be in line with necessarily the real gray man theory for a lot of things, but they do work. Here's another pair here that doesn't quite have the full wraparound. This is the J186. The other one was the J187. And this particular one here has like an insert on the inside, which looks like you can have, like, it's made for, I guess, for people who have prescriptions. So I'll show you guys. This looks really cool. So you wouldn't even see it. So it looks just like your sunglasses, and then you have this other thing in here that clips in. And so if you do have prescription glasses, you can put this on here, clip it in on the inside. And again, one thing, so people that are, you know, and this is a really cool system. I like that. It clips in. They've got like some little, if you guys have, they've got some little O-rings in there. But one thing I have learned, and it's really cool, really, to me, it's kind of a big deal, is that if you need glasses to see, especially, and you know, having sunglasses is crucial in high sun areas. So if you're anywhere near, if you're planning on being outside all day long, and there's a lot of sun, if you're anywhere near the equator, or if you're anywhere where there's not a lot of shade, foliage, if you're in Antarctica, or if you're in a desert, okay, out on the water, you want sun protection. And if you need glasses to see, It's really good to have a backup pair. And one thing I've learned is a cheap pair of sunglasses, or if you need glasses to see, a cheap pair of backup glasses goes a long way. Because anything is as dangerous and crazy and random as the world is that we live in, the same things that can happen to you, the same reasons you should be prepared and know how to handle tough situations and know what the heck you're doing, the same reasons you should do all that. This little inside thing is just really cool. I really like that. But the same reasons that you should do all that kind of preparedness stuff is the same reason you should probably consider, if you can afford it, having a couple cheap pairs of backup glasses. And it's just a really good idea and something really good to have, because you don't think about it a lot of times until you need it. And when you need it, it's often too late to think about, because you needed it now. So BJ Eyewear, check them out. If you like them, you like the prices, buy several of them and keep them on hand. I really appreciate you guys tuning into these videos. I hope this helped you out. I hope you can, consider adding a few items to your kit, a pair of sandals, maybe to your vehicle, or some sort of a bug out stash, maybe just to your wardrobe, a knife definitely add a knife to your kit, and if your cell phone's not protected right now, protect it, and have a backup pair of glasses, or at least one pair of sunglasses to protect your eyes if you spend a lot of time outside. Thanks for watching. Bone out.